The bass thudded so hard it rattled the metal bleachers. Friday night lights flashed across the high school gym in fractured colors, violet, red, green, turning familiar faces into strangers. Streamers hung from the rafters. A disco ball scattered broken stars across the crowd. Sneakers squeaked against polished wood. Bodies moved in loose circles of laughter and awkward dancing. The chaperones stood near the refreshment tables, distracted, tired, confident that the worst they'd deal with tonight was spiked punch or a breakup in the hallway. Outside, behind the gym near the loading doors, a pickup truck idled. Its headlights were off. A livestock trailer sat hitched behind it. A few students leaned against the brick wall near the dumpsters, half listening to the music through the walls, half filming each other for social feeds. They saw the truck first. "Is that?" one of them started. The trailer door creaked open. The farmer stepped down slowly. His posture was upright, careful, like someone entering church. He unlatched the trailer gate. The cows stepped out one by one. They did not resist. They did not wander. They followed him. Inside the gym, the DJ transitioned into a slower track. The crowd groaned. Some couples moved closer. Others laughed and drifted toward the snack tables. The side service doors opened with a metallic groan. At first, no one noticed. Then someone screamed, not in fear but in disbelief. "Are those cows?" Laughter rippled through the gym. Phones came up. Screens glowed as cameras zoomed in. The farmer walked calmly onto the gym floor. The cows followed. Teachers hurried forward, hands raised in confusion. "Sir, you can't bring. What are you doing?" But the cows didn't panic under the lights. They didn't scatter. They spread. One moved toward the main entrance doors and stopped, broad body filling the space. Another ambled toward the side hallway exit. Two more drifted toward the emergency doors at the far wall. One positioned itself between the bleachers and the double doors near the locker rooms. Students laughed nervously. "Is this a prank? Homecoming stunt? Is someone filming a TikTok?" The farmer stopped at the center of the gym floor. The music cut abruptly. The silence hit harder than the bass ever had. In that sudden quiet, you could hear the hum of the lights overhead, the soft exhale of the cows, the faint buzz of someone's phone still recording. The farmer looked around at the students. His face was pale, stretched thin across his bones. His eyes seemed too still. When he spoke, his voice carried cleanly across the gym. "Please don't run." There was a single, suspended second where no one moved. And then his body split open. It wasn't an explosion. It was a tearing. Skin peeled back as if unzipped from the inside. His torso folded outward, collapsing in on itself as something slick and pale forced its way free. Wet sounds filled the gym, thick, intimate ruptures. The cows dropped in unison. Every one of them. Their legs buckled. Their massive bodies struck the hardwood with bone-jarring force, and then they tore open too. Dozens of glistening shapes spilled across the gym floor. Screams detonated. Students surged toward the exits. But the cows were already there. Blocking. Trampling began almost immediately. Someone fell. Someone else went down on top of them. The emergency push bars rattled uselessly against immovable weight. The things that had emerged from the bodies moved with terrifying precision. They did not thrash. They did not swarm. Each one seemed to choose. A girl near the bleachers felt something strike her ankle. She kicked, slipped, and hit the floor. It climbed her in a single fluid motion, up her back, under her hair, beneath her collar. Her scream cut short. A boy slammed into a side door, shoving uselessly at the cow blocking it. Something latched onto his calf. He clawed at it, sobbing. It flowed upward, vanishing beneath his jacket. All across the gym, the same pattern. One per person. No overlap, no waste. Teachers tried to shield students. One grabbed a fire extinguisher and swung blindly. Another shouted for everyone to stay calm, voice cracking, dissolving into panic. It didn't matter. Within minutes, the screaming changed. It thinned. It broke. And then it stopped. The gym was filled with bodies. Some still, some twitching. Then, slowly, one student rolled onto her hands and knees. She stood. Her movements were careful, like someone learning balance for the first time. Another rose. And another. A teacher pushed himself upright, blood on his sleeve, eyes unfocused. He adjusted his glasses, straightened his tie. All around the gym, students got to their feet. They looked at one another. There was no confusion on their faces. No fear. Only assessment. Near the center of the floor, several of the creatures remained unpaired, glossy, slick shapes resting in shallow pools of blood. The standing students moved toward them. One knelt and scooped a writhing shape carefully into both hands, cradling it as if it were fragile. Another removed a backpack from the floor and opened it wide. Two more lifted an unused creature together and slid it inside. A teacher gathered 3 of them in a fallen banner and tied the fabric closed. When they finished, they began to walk. The cow's husks lay collapsed near the exits, split wide and empty. Students pushed the heavy bodies aside just enough to open doors. Outside in the parking lot, the few teenagers who had been near the dumpsters stared in horror. They had heard the screaming. They had heard the pounding against doors. Now they saw figures emerging from the gym. Students, teachers, walking calmly. Some of them were stained with blood. Some limped slightly. None were screaming. One of the outside teens whispered, "What happened?" A girl exiting the gym paused under the floodlights. Her face was streaked red, her dress torn at the shoulder. She looked directly at them. Her expression was flat, unblinking. She tilted her head slightly, as if memorizing them. The teens bolted. They ran across the parking lot, dropping phones, abandoning backpacks. They didn't wait to understand. Behind them, the infected did not chase. They watched. Then they dispersed. Some climbed into cars, turning keys with steady hands. Others walked into the surrounding neighborhoods in small, quiet groups. A few carried bags carefully against their chests. Inside the gym, several adults remained. They moved methodically. One retrieved a mop from the janitor's closet. Another began stacking overturned folding chairs. 2 more dragged the empty husk of the farmer toward a maintenance room. They worked in silence. The blood on the floor was diluted, spread thin, absorbed into towels and mop heads. Decorations were torn down. Broken doors were propped upright. By the time the sun began to pale the sky beyond the high windows, the gym looked damaged, but not catastrophic. Scuffed wood, cracked streamers, a faint metallic smell that could pass for something else. The adults stood together near center court. Still. Then one spoke softly. "Everyone is placed." Another nodded. Outside, the town was quiet. Porch lights clicked off as morning approached. In separate houses across separate streets, bedroom doors closed. In kitchens, backpacks were set down carefully. In basements and garages, unused shapes were removed from fabric and plastic, and placed gently on concrete floors. Waiting. The invasion had not roared. It had stepped inside, and it was already home,